Look at this guy. Look at these guys. Whatever you think about Bleach and Naruto, you can't deny that these character designs are simple but striking. In a world where infinite mangas exist, a visually appealing character design can be the sole entry point for someone picking up a particular manga and trying it out. Thankfully, in my favorite manga, there is no shortage of great character designs, but here are my 5 favorite Hunter x Hunter character designs ever. And disclaimer, we're just talking about visual designs, nothing to do with personality or character development, literally just what we see on paper and on screen. You know what's so great about the chairman of the Hunter Association, Isaac Netero's design? Or I should say, spoiler alert, former chairman? It is the contradiction of the wise old grandmaster trope, full of Buddhist symbolism, and what actually lies underneath all of that. Buddhism is a religion that is perhaps best known as the religion of Zen and peace. Netero looks frail. He wears a kimono, and his droopy earlobes, which in Asian culture often symbolizes longevity and wisdom, is all a misdirection to make him look non-threatening. But as we all know, he's also the strongest Nen user in the world. Contrary to his outwardly Zen appearance, there's a darkness inside him that legitimately gets excited or even turned on for a real challenge. Buddhist imagery is also part of his powers, with that 100 Guanyin ability being perhaps just one of the coolest abilities in the entire series. And this contrast between smiley, harmless granddad and terrifying power is further illustrated when he changes his already relaxed kimono outfit to short shorts and a t-shirt with the kanji word for heart as he prepares for his toughest battle, and one he'd ultimately give his life to. The old wise kung fu master that seems to hold all the wisdom and answers is not exactly new. It's been done a million times. But throughout Hunter x Hunter, there are flashes and moments that make us question whether Netero is purely good, or if he'll bend morality and rules a little bit simply for his own entertainment. Netero, despite his appearance of an old Shaolin monk, definitely enjoys some chaos. And at number 4, it is Phaeton, who is one of the original members of the Phantom Troupe, and he's also the definition of a short king. No, not this guy. Togashi barely cared about this guy. Phaeton is the true short king of the Phantom Troupe. Just look at this photo. And it's this unassuming stature, along with his design, that makes him one of the most popular Phantom Troupe members. I don't actually know what you call Phaeton's outfit. Is it a onesie? Poncho? Is it a dress? Is it just like a big blanket? I don't know. But what I do know is when I was a kid and first got into Hunter x Hunter, I used to wear my shirt up like this. 90% of the time we see Phaeton, we only see half his face covered with this skull bandana, and that skull kind of looks like an emblem from some biker gang, but it's a symbol for his penance for torture. Because his face is almost never fully exposed, we see and interpret a lot of Phaeton's emotions through his eyes, and his eyes almost always portray the subtle hint of frustration and anger, as well as impatience, almost like he's waiting for something to happen just so he can unleash hell. One of the rare times he changes outfits is during the Chimeric Ant arc, when he unleashes Painpacker. His outfit goes from dark and stealth to bright and bold, with the inverted crosses plastered over his outfit. This distinction between his two appearances represents his bottled-up rage. A quiet member of the Phantom Troupe, who doesn't even really speak the language of Hunter x Hunter fluently and perfectly, that contrasted with perhaps the most peacocking of all flowers. Also during the Chimera Ant arc, we see Phaeton utilizes umbrella, which also has a skull on it of course, which conceals the sword that he uses. It fits his stealth nature and appearance, a weapon that's harmless on the surface, just like Phaeton's stature, but deadly when unleashed. Now surprisingly, when I first saw Phaeton's entire face, he looked pretty normal. I'm not sure why I expected something a lot more sinister, but there really isn't much to it. Phaeton's design is a prime example of less is more. Less is enough. A one-piece outfit that's dark and simple is sufficient to portray the sadistic, cold, and sharp character. And one of the best things about the Succession arc is of course the writing, but also because so many beloved characters are also involved, with Phaeton being one of the Phantom Troupe members who's getting a lot of page time. Number 3 may be controversial to put him at number 3, but it is the king himself, Meruem. Now Meruem's design is perhaps not the most original, doesn't take a Dragon Ball Z fanatic to see the inspiration and influence from Cell and Frieza, but if you grew up with Dragon Ball Z, like so many of us did, how can you not love what Togashi did with Meruem here? using green as a representation of nature, as a chimeradant. The purple also represents royalty, with a lethal tail that honestly, in my opinion, I think in a vacuum, it's probably the one flaw in his design, as the tail looks a little goofy, kind of like Chody, but his methodical and intimidating use of it is nonetheless threatening and fitting of his king status. His stature is small, it's short, but like Frieza, all the subordinates around him are still terrified. There's a quiet authority and aura that Meruem walks around with that demands full submission, but his face is undoubtedly human, and that fits his development so well. A violent king from a different species that literally forced his way out of his own mother's womb is completely enamored by humanity, and as it turns out, his humanization was there all along. The most significant change to Meruem's outward appearance is his wings after absorbing Poof and Youpi. Again, here we see the use of purple, symbolizing royalty, and in true Togashi fashion, his eyes may be the most expressive as the Chimera Ant arc unfolds. He begins with a sort of stoic expression and his eyes are cold, but as the story progresses, there's almost like a softness to his eyes, deep in thought and pondering his purpose of existing. Meruem is one of Hunter x Hunter fans' favorite villains, and I think a lot of it subconsciously can be felt through this type of empathy through his eyes alone. And number 2, it is Chrollo le Sulphur, who of course leads the Phantom Troop. So I talked about Netero's Buddhist Zen charm, and on the contrary, we have Chrollo, the leader of the Phantom Troop, and undoubtedly one of the best villains in all of manga. He's also full of religious symbolism, but unlike Netero's Buddhist inspiration, it's very Christianity coded, and likely devil or Satan coded. Let's begin with his dark outfit, often seen in black and purple, again a symbol of royalty. It's goth, it's evil, it's satanic. It's what you would expect from the leader of a group like the Phantom Troop. Fur on that jacket when we first see him further accentuates his presence as a leader and royalty among his members. Then we have the St. Peter's Cross, which is an inverted cross on the back of his coat. Now, I'm not a religious scholar, but one of the origins of the St. Peter's Cross originated from St. Peter requesting to be crucified upside down, as he felt unworthy to be crucified the same way Jesus did. But in mainstream pop culture, especially in movies, it's often used as a symbol of Antichrist or the devil. So this demonic symbolism extends to his name, Chrollo le Sulphur, of course a play on Lucifer, the angel who became the devil. And just like rappers, Chrollo has a face tat, a cross on his forehead that is sometimes hidden when he's dressed in disguise as civilian. A symbol, perhaps, for how the rest of the troop members view him, almost like a Christ-like figure. Similar to Netero, Chrollo also rocks jewelry in his ears, though Chrollo's is decidedly darker and more gothic. These huge orb earrings radiates an edginess that perfectly blends into his overall character design. Now, without a doubt, my favorite version of Chrollo is the one with the leather jacket we first see him in during the York New arc. That whole aesthetic is aura personified. But we've also seen him recently in a slightly different getup in the Heavens arc battle against Hisoka. He still has on this kind of trench coat type attire with the end crosses all over, but Togashi has drawn him in a slightly more childlike way, which honestly I'm not a huge fan of, but his hair is also down instead of slicked back, but his eyes remain calm amidst all the chaos. And the eyes, Chrollo's expression can seem innocent, nihilistic. It feels like there's maybe nothing behind his eyes, but especially in recent arcs, we've seen a more expressive Chrollo, though it's still relatively subdued. And at number 1, it is one of the best villains in all of manga, anime, cartoons, storytelling. I don't give it. It is Hisoka Moro. The jester, the magician, the crop top, the smile, all things that aren't traditionally what we'd characterize as intimidating. I mean, my man looks like he has shapewear on, but that's exactly why Hisoka is such a unique villain. The playful kind of outward appearance belies what's deep inside him. Hisoka's outfit in the 1999 version of the anime is actually significantly different in the first arc. Instead of this infrared pinkish color hair that we'd become accustomed to and that he'd go on to wear for the rest of the first anime's adaptation, I actually was introduced to Hunter x Hunter through the 99 anime, so instinctively, when I think of Hisoka, that blue-haired version is the one that first pops to my mind. Now, Hisoka's outfit and design does change as we move from arc to arc. So his outfit starts with this bluish tint in the 2011 anime, and he has this shirt wrapped around his waist, very 90s, and very explicit clown shoes. And this outfit may be a hot take, but it's actually my favorite of all versions of Hisoka because it's just so goofy, starting and ending with those shoes. And interestingly, this version is actually the only one where he covers up his shoulders. In the Heaven's Arena arc, he adopts a darker crop top, and I actually really like this shade. But a few things about this outfit I don't love. The 2 knee pads that he's added. Like, come on, man. What do you need knee pads for? And the most obvious one, what happened to his torso? A man has traded the slimmest of waists to an extra large scrotum around his waist. What is going on here? Now to my favorite arc of the manga, the York New arc, Hisoka goes for a nature-inspired look. Gone are the knee pads, thank god. Gone is the orb, thank god. And his outfit has turned green and turquoise. Now this is probably the most different outfit that we've seen him in, just color-wise, and it's a nice change, and it stands out in an arc that is undeniably dark. And the Greed Island arc, Hisoka changes into a slightly light purple color. The knee pads and the orb seems to be gone forever, but he also ditches his clown socks. Why is he going commando bare feet for? I think the socks were one of the best things about his character design, and it just fits his overall aesthetic so well. But I will say, this light purple shade is one of my favorite looks for Hisoka. He's also ditched his Ben Wallace armbands. During the election arc, Hisoka goes full punk. The turtleneck and wristbands are now dark purple. He's added earrings, a staple in Hunter x Hunter, and this dope waist belt. This look is probably my second favorite outfit of his, and of course we can't ignore his use of playing cards as well as suits on his outfit that changes, and the suits that appear in different types of dialogue. Now we haven't seen Hisoka a ton in the Succession War arc, and of course it hasn't made its way onto the anime, so more to come there. Magicians or characters who utilizes playing cards isn't exactly new. I mean, Gambit is one of my favorite characters ever, but Togashi makes his version of a magician stand on its own with his sadistic personality, undeniable charisma, and a mysteriousness that even after 5 major arcs with one still ongoing makes him an enigma. His expressions change little, but precisely because of that, when they do, you feel it. You know it's about to go down.